Okay, this question, number 16, is stem and leaf diagram, and it's about age expectancy in Africa in 2015. First thing they ask is how many people have a age expectancy of less than 58. So you go to where 58 would be in the stem and leaf, and you count back how many answers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the answer is 5 people. Next thing, find the median. Now, because there's 12 countries, the median will have 2 numbers. There will be 2 numbers in the middle, and they'll be the 6th and 7th. And there they are here. They're both 58, so the answer is 58. If they hadn't been the same, you would have added the numbers and divided by 2. The range is just the biggest, take away the smallest. The biggest is 73, the smallest at the top is 49. The answer is 24. Next thing, this is quite a long part, so listen carefully. You have just worked out the answers for 2015, and they're giving you information about another year in 1975, and they tell you that the average, the median, was 49 and the range was 30. And they want you to compare the 2 sets of data. So what you do is you do this little table. You write the 2 sets of answers, the median and the range for each year group. And remember, the median is an average. So you can see straight away that in 2015, the average had gone up, that people were, on average, living longer. The range had gone down, and this is a good thing, because if the range gets smaller, it means that the answers are closer together and they're getting more similar. So you just write down the median is higher, so people are generally living longer, and the range is smaller, which means life expectancy is more consistent. That word consistent is a really good word to use with the range. If the range is smaller, good idea to write consistent. Plus 17, hang on. Oh, that is right. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, question 17 is about angles. You can see 2 parallel lines, and you have angle X that you have to find at the top. Angle X is what we call corresponding to 33, so X is 33. Y, you make that Z shape around Y in the bottom, so Y is the same as this bottom one, Y is 54. And when you use that Z shape, you use the word alternate, okay? The second part of the question, this is just literally use your calculator. Work out the top line, you get 2.2. Work out the bottom line, you get 0.55, and the answer is 4. Next question is a wee bit longer. He has buying 30 boxes of crisps, and there are 48 packets in a box. So he sells 80% of them. That's the first thing you have to do. Work out how many he sells. So he buys 1,440. To work out 80%, you multiply that number by 0.80 and you get 1,152. First answer. How much does he sell those for? Well, they're 60 pence each, so you just multiply that number by 0.60 and changed it into pounds to make it easier for the answer. £691.20. Then he sells the rest at 20p, and he paid £25 for each box of crisps. Does he make a profit? Well, first of all, work out how many he has left. He has 288 left, and he sells them for 20 pence each, which means that he gets £57.60 from them, and he's already got £691.20 from the other ones. How much did he pay at the start? £25 times 30, he paid £750. So to work out your profit, work out how much you paid and how much money you took in. So take those 2 numbers away and you're left with £1.20. So we got a very small profit of £1.20. Number 20. So number 20 is a scatter graph. Scatter graphs aren't too hard to draw. You just have to remember that this is the number you go along and this is the number you go up, and they had already put some X's in for you and you had to put the rest of them. So this scatter graph was about people doing a course, and you were trying to compare it with how well they did in the course according to if they missed nights at the course. So you're hoping that if they didn't miss any of the nights, they do very well. And you can see straight away the first answer, he didn't miss any nights and he got 92, which is pretty good. There's another person who missed 5 nights at the end there, and he only got a score of 46, sorry. So you can see the more nights you miss, the less well you do in the course because you're missing information. First thing I ask you to do is to draw a line of best fit. So you just take your ruler with the X's, and you've already drawn it, and you put your ruler in between all the X's, and you join up your line top to bottom across the graph. Then they ask, somebody missed 4 nights of the course, use the graph to estimate. So you go to 4 nights, you draw that line going straight up to the graph and straight across, and my answer is coming out at 52. You might get a different answer, and that's okay, so long as it's close to 52 and that you have evidence from the graph that you went from 4 nights up and over. It also is negative correlation because it's straight down, okay? Positive correlation starts down here and goes up. Negative comes down the way. Okay, 21 is a garden, and it's the shape of a rectangle, and there's a triangle flower bed in the corner. So they want you to work out the area of the flower bed. So that's the length, the base times the height. The base is 4.8, the height is 3.6. Times each other, divide by 2, type it into the calculator exactly like that, and then you get 8.64. Second part, they want you to work out how long this line is here. So that's Pythagoras. So you square the 2 numbers on your calculator using the x2 button and add them together because this is a long side. You get 36. Square root of 36 is 6. Okay? Last part, this is another question, 22. So it's all about how much money they spent on advertising. They spent 2,400. The following year, they spent more, 2,796. And you want the percentage increase. So you work out the increase in money, 396. You're comparing that to the first year, so it's 396 over 2,400. Times 100 will change it into a percentage. So literally on your calculator, 396 divided by 2,400 times 100, and that part of it changes into percentage, and you get 16.5%. 23. So 23 is about a bank account. So you have got compound interest, so you have to work out the money each year and add it on. So that 0.0175 is 1.75% interest. So the first year he gets £140. The second year he gets £142.45 because they're working out the bigger amount, 8,140. And the third year they get the most, £144.94. And you basically either just add that to the last year's amount or add the 3 amounts to the 8,000 and you get £8,427.39. This one is about a circular pitch, sorry. What you really want to do in this question is work out how far is 1 lap. So 1 lap is going to be 2 straight lines added to the distance around a circle. And remember, the distance around a circle is the circumference, pi d. So first of all, 1 lap is 150. At 150, add the circle. So 150, add pi times 50. The diameter of that circle would be 50. 300 at 157.08 equals 457.08. That's the first part. You know how long 1 lap is. So she wants to do 10 kilometres. So 10 kilometres is 10,000 metres. So take your 10,000 and divide by 1 lap and you get 21.87 laps. So altogether she would need to do 22 laps to be sure. Okay, 25. 25 is a graph about a taxi journey, okay? So they'd already drawn one of the graphs, and they asked for the gradient. First of all, to find the gradient, you pick 2 points. Gradient is rise over run. So you can pick any 2 points. I picked these 2 points. You've got 3 divided by 2, which is, you can write it like that, or 1.5. What does this tell you in this question? Well, this question is about how much money you have to pay and the length of your journey. So if you go across 1 square and up, that's your gradient. So every time you go across 1 square, you go up 1.5, which is £1.50. So 1 mile costs £1.50. So it's the cost per mile. What is the next question? So then you draw the next graph for this other company, and they start at a cost of £4, and every mile is just £1. So what I did was put a dot here at £4, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, for as many as we needed to, and then just joined it up. Every mile costs £1, which is why those dots are where they are. Starts at £4, which is why you have the 4 there. Last part of this question. Use your graph to work out the length of journey where they will both cost the same. So they both cost the same where the crossover, and that journey was 4 miles. Next question is your Venn diagram. So you basically just have to work everything out. You can see the first thing that you can work out is 4 had cinema and sports only, and that's the difficult thing. You put the 7 in the middle to start with, and then cable and box sets and sports, but not cinema. Box sets and sports, but not cinema is 11. Okay, so you're not including the 7. 14 had box sets and cinema, but not the sports. Box sets and cinema, but not the sports. This last one you have to be careful with, because this 11 includes the 7 in the middle. Okay, so there are 4 in this section here. The next part, you have all this taken away to do. 36 had subscriptions for this cable cinema. Now, cable cinema is all of this. So you've already got 7 and 4 and 14 in cable cinema. So you have to take those away to work out what's left up here, and it's 11. Then this one, 48, had cable box sets is this one. So you take your 48 and take away all these 3 numbers that you already put in, and you've got 16. And then sports, the same thing. You've got 33, but you've got to take away the 4, the 7, and the 11, and you have 11 in here. So draw the Venn diagram, put all those numbers in, and that leaves 6 on the outside because there were 80 customers, okay? How many of the customers? And that's how you work out the 6. Start with your radius at the start and take away all the numbers in the Venn diagram, and you're left with 6, and that 6 goes on the outside. So have a good look at those answers and make sure you got the numbers in the right place. Number 27. This is quite a tricky question, so please don't be worried if you got this wrong. You know that when you're finding the mean, you have this column, you have the frequency, and you work out the totals, and then you divide the totals by the frequency, the number of people. The mean is the total divided by the number of people. Now, what we also did was we talked about how you can work out the total. The total is the mean. The total is the mean multiplied by the number of people. So we can work out that there were 15 players, so we know that's 15. The mean number of goals was 3. So the total was 3 times 15. And we did that in class. So the total is 45. So we could put that 45 in there. 2 times 10 is 20. X times 5, we know we can write as 5x. So what we could do here is we can make an equation from this bit here. 20 add 5x is 45. Okay. Little equation. And to solve these equations, remember you do the opposite. So that's 45, take away 20, and then divide by 5. So x works out to be 5. Now that's quite a tricky question. Please don't panic if you couldn't work that out. It is your mean. It's your table, working out your mean. You multiply, you get your totals. You add your frequencies, you add your totals, and you divide them. But it's just kind of backwards, okay? Don't worry if you got that wrong.